Hey mamas, so your provider just recommended an induction. Now what? Let's talk about it. Now, before we start, disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional. Nothing on my channel should be taken as medical advice. This is for educational purposes only. Okay, let's dive right in. Hi everyone, my name is Leslie. I'm a disciple, wife, mom, and childbirth doula. And this is where I share about all things birth, faith, and family. And today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 tips on what to do if your provider has recommended an induction, okay? This video was inspired by a couple that I met at Costco. This video has been a long time coming, but getting to speak with them for just a couple of minutes, shout out to Alex and Mike, I hope you're watching, I realized I'm like, I should just have a go-to video for this. So here it is. Okay, tip number 1. Understand the reason why. Why is your provider recommending an induction? Here's some top reasons that they may recommend one. They may say your fluid level is too low. That can be identified through a sonogram. A suspected big baby, gestational diabetes, high blood pressure or other signs of preeclampsia, and 5, going past your due date or nearing your due date, or a myriad of things depending on where they stand on that. I want to recommend you and direct you to evidence-based birth on this, okay? They have great one-pagers and podcasts on all of these as to looking further into what the science shows. It's definitely worth reading the one that pertains to the reason why you were told you should have an induction. For example, I've seen moms go from low levels of fluid one week to chugging water all week and then being at a normal level the following week that allows them to continue waiting, okay? Also, it's normal to have your fluid levels decrease near the end of pregnancy. But if you didn't look further into that, you may not know that, because when you hear, oh, your fluid levels are low, we need to induce, the only thing that comes into your mind, if you don't have any other context or information, is, oh my goodness, my child's in danger. And that makes you operate out of a place of fear as opposed to coming from a place that understands all the information as it pertains to what you're being recommended and the situation that you're facing, okay? So 1, understand the reason why. Number 2, understand what is a Bishop score, okay? Bishop score looks at it is a tool used by medical professionals that looks at a variety of factors to estimate the likelihood that you will have a successful vaginal delivery if you're induced. So it's kind of like they take a couple of measures each, like how's your cervix, are you a first-time mom? You know, if you're a first-time mom, you start off at -1 as that's what you get as a point, right? And then if you're a multip, like you've had children before, then you are at a +1, right? And so all of this to say that they look at a variety of factors to see what will be the likelihood that you will have a successful vaginal delivery. I think it's important for you to understand that even a tool like this exists and understand it. So to get a deeper understanding, I've linked a blog post below by a doula group that I think the blog post is absolutely great. So it explains it further. I recommend you go there. Number 3, understand the process. The provider, the induction is not just like, there's a process and there's different steps. And if this is something that you're considering, then you need to talk this all the way through. I highly recommend you talk this all the way through before you do anything. Before you even agree, you should have an understanding of what would induction even look like with your provider. You should ask that question. If an induction is recommended, you say, okay, well, what does that even look like? What would be the process? Okay, I come in at so time. Okay, then what are we doing when I come in at said time on said scheduled date? Okay, what's the first thing you're gonna do? Okay, what are you waiting for after that? What's the next thing you're gonna do? Okay, what's the thing after that? You should understand that, because the induction often starts with a cervical softener. They may insert a Foley balloon to help you dilate further or not. And then involve some type of dilation medication, okay? There's a myriad of medical options here. And so it's important for you to understand what those are. And so have that conversation with your provider, do some research, understand the process, specifically as to how it would be for you, what your provider says, but also based on what they say, go ahead and look into what those procedures look like so that you know what to expect, okay? For example, the most common medication used to in induction is Pitocin, which is synthetic oxytocin. Oxytocin and Pitocin, you're often told, oh, they're the same. But they're not the same. When your body is producing this hormone naturally, it comes with endorphins that make you feel good and therefore experience less painful contractions. And so after a long time on Pitocin, you may want to consider a pain management tool that's medical. And so that brings me to tip number 4. Consider that you would be on Pitocin, that this could be a less comfortable experience given how intense the contractions can get without your body producing those endorphins. And think through what you want to do in terms of pain medication, i.e. the epidural. Do you want it? Do you know how it works? Do you know the benefits, the risks, the alternatives? That's important. The epidural confines you to the bed, right? You then have to have a catheter put in for pee. You are laboring in the bed. How does labor progress in that way? What different positions do you do? This is where I really think doulas shine. People think that if you want to go natural, that's the only reason you would hire a doula. But actually, we're really good at helping you just reach your goal of a vaginal delivery. That's our goal is to help you reach your goal. So whatever it is, the birth that you are looking for, our job is to come alongside you to help support that vision, okay? So if your goal is a vaginal delivery, but you plan on getting your epidural, then you just let your doula know, and your doula is helping to support that by helping get you into different positions that will work in bed, that regardless of, just based on your cervical check, we want to open up your inlet versus your outlet, or versus your mid-pelvis, and like, what positions do we do? As a doula, it is not my job to tell you what to do. I'm there to make sure that you have all the information so that you can make the best decision for you and your baby, because the only one who has to live with the consequences of your decisions is you, and you are the best equipped to make said decision for your family, okay? Without being coerced, without information being omitted, okay? You have the right to informed consent or informed refusal. But for that, you need to know the information, not just the benefits of what's being offered to you and the risks of saying no to said recommendation, okay? You need to know all of, you need to be offered full context so that you can see, okay, here are my actual options, right? But shameless plug here though, for the physical prep part of this, especially with an epidural, is my Body Ready Birth, okay? This class, if you want to look for one near you, check out bodyreadymethod.com. This is a class that I just certified in. I'm a certified Body Ready Birth trainer, and I'm hosting my first one of the year in Brookfield, Connecticut. So if you're in or near the area, check out birthbyfaith.com/workshop. I will link it down below. This class goes beyond like the what to know about birth and dives into the what to do. So like what positions would be good when you are -1 station and 5 centimeters dilated, okay? What is the best position to do when you are at 0 station, or you are at +2 and it's pushing? What are the best positions for that, with or without an epidural, right? If you're interested in that and you want to know more about that, check that out. I have my early bird rate going until Valentine's Day this Friday. And so if you book by then, you'll get that rate, okay? I hope to see you there. Now, that brings me to tip number 5, which I left for last for a reason. You need to consider, what do you believe about birth and what is your desire for your birth, okay? What do you believe about what your body is capable of doing, this process, and your faith in you, your faith in your body, and your faith in God, okay? Because physiological birth is not selfish, okay? I think often there's this idea that like, oh my gosh, I wanted to do it natural, but like now there's this reason I'm being told there's a reason for induction. I'm being selfish to not just go with what's being recommended to me. That's not true. That's not true. It doesn't make you selfish to take a moment and pause and say, wait, this is not what I wanted. Is there another way? Like, let me just, because there are two birth models at play here. Physiological birth is one, but the medical model is another. And so if you are attempting physiological birth in a medical setting, you need to understand that. And you need to say, okay, let me ask the questions, figure out what's going on here, because it's not selfish of you to want a physiological birth. It's outcomes, this, all of the statistics show outcomes are better for you and for your baby in recovery if you have if you go through physiological birth versus medical. And so that's important for you to hold on to, so that you understand that you don't just have to give in to the first sign of something trying to come in and coerce you into doing something that you don't want to do, or bring fear into your situation. Okay, I want you to think about, like, what does God say? Okay, have you prayed about the situation? What is the, like, are you operating? Understand from yourself, are you operating out of a fear of man or a fear of God? And understanding in all of this that you have rights, okay? This is why what tip number 5 is understanding what you believe, because you have a right here. You have the right to say no. You have the right to ask for more time. You have the right to all the information. This is your choice. My little extra bonus tip here is to remember these 3 questions. Is baby okay? Is mom okay? Can I have more time? If the answers to questions 1 and 2 is yes, then the answer to question number 3 should also be yes. And so go through that, understand that, understand all the dimensions of, like, is baby okay? Okay, well, yes, baby is actually okay, but we think that this could happen or this could happen, right? Understand that. Go through that, pray through that, figure out what do you believe, talk to your partner about it, and as it always is, my tip is always that you would birth by faith and not out of fear. Okay? With that, I hope these top 5 tips are helpful to you as you consider the induction that's being offered to you. Please, if this was helpful, give it a thumbs up. Do all the things below. Let me know if you were recommended an induction, so I can be praying for you. And share this with anyone who you think it might be helpful. Okay, mamas, remember, whether you've been offered an induction or whether you've been recommended an induction or not, whether you choose to go with one or not, when you operate from that place of faith in God and his faithfulness, just know you've got this, mama. Going in, you've got this, because God's got you. Okay? All right, with that, I will let y'all go. Be blessed. See you in the next one.